In today's test with CMANO and DCS, we're going to be using an A-18C armed with HARM missiles to engage two different types of missile batteries protecting Senaki Air Base. So I'm going to keep things a little bit more manual this time, just to simplify things. I've already recorded all the critical information that we're going to need to do once we get over to DCS. And again, our goal is going to be to destroy the radars. Now, one thing I know from experience in this particular program is you have to be very, very strict as to what constitutes a targeting radar and things like that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to mission control. I'm going to also set a weapon release authorization, and I'm going to make sure we don't attack more than one. So I'm actually going to do not use this weapon. Now that sounds kind of weird, but the reason I'm doing that is I'm preventing this guy from wasting the weapon on something that it doesn't need to waste on. We need to get illuminated before we can try to attack the actual fire control radar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep him nice and low and use this little ridge line kind of to hide behind. Keep our altitude about 1,000 feet, sounds pretty safe. And my hope here is that I can go ahead and engage him. Let's go ahead, make sure he's got everything he needs to have. Go ahead and unpause him. Let's see here. Okay, so the guys, oh, I see the issue. Okay, so I'm gonna let him keep cruising while I kind of clean this up real quickly. So unfortunately, we do have to do it, but we have to make sure he doesn't accidentally use more than one. So let's see here, twice as many. We'll just use one round. Because what I don't want him to do is to accidentally fire on something that he's not supposed to fire on. I know how to do that. So let's go ahead and say hold. So it's going to be manual only. That's the way we want to do it. Okay, now we're in business. So we're still a little out of range, but that's okay. All right, let's get going. All right, our hope is that any moment they're going to start activating their fire control radars. We're going to go ahead and do all contact emissions. It looks like they're not actually emitting it this time, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to go double check real quickly to make sure that they do. Yeah, that guy's hostile. You might want to shoot at it, guys. Just saying. Yep, they're set to active. Go back to NATO. They're probably working him out right now. All right, looks good. Incredibly, have not been engaged yet by the SA-3s. There it is. Missiles away in a very, very rapid fashion. We got to get him to minimum altitude as fast as possible and get him the heck behind that ridge line. Well, we don't want to do too much of that because then he won't finish launching all his weapons. Looks like one of the weapons is actually going for the radar itself. The other one's going for the search radar. All right, come on, one more. One more. There we go. Return to base. Now, if this guy was dumb, he'd try to fly very, very high. Stay low, stay low. All right, he's going right back down, I hope. Nope, he's climbing for some reason. Why are you climbing? He's like, mission's accomplished, Chief. We don't have to go back up. There we go. Okay, we're safe. All right, let's see what happens. They're doing their thing. Looks like only one of the radars is going to be successfully engaged here, which is a little difficult, but it happens. All right, let's see what happens. First one connects. Second one, beautiful hit. Next one hits, and finally the next one connects also. I don't think any of those actually got the important piece, though, which is the actual fire control radar itself. Meanwhile, this guy's making his way back home. Now that he's far enough away, I'll just switch him back to regular base mode. Once he lands, we'll go ahead and pause and take a note of all the different times and things like that, and then we'll decide what to do from there. Interesting, he's climbing up to 36,000 feet to fly 16 feet. But I'm not judging. Survey says, get ready to pause. paused. Okay, so it's 4:43 a.m. now. So it's 4:43. Zulu arrived back at base. And then it looks like the weapons were launched. They were missed. Intercept angle, attacking the harm. About 440 missiles hit. About 440 missiles hit targets. Very interesting. We missed how much fuel we have. 5107. I was lucky. 11,235 of fuel remaining. Ending fuel. I don't think he dropped off his fuel tank or anything like that. No, I don't think so. All right, so now all we have to do is try this out in DCS. All right, we've gone ahead and set this aircraft up exactly the same way as it was done in Command. A big difference between Command and DCS is that in DCS, the missiles follow that ballistic trajectory that Command doesn't do a very good job of simulating. So unfortunately, for us to be successful, we're either going to have to get extremely close to the SAM system, or we're going to have to pop up to a high enough altitude to basically loft the missile at him. So I'm kind of a fan of the former rather than the latter, so we're going to go ahead and use that strategy for actual attack. Everything else, though, is exactly the same. We're going to be cruising at about 450. We're actually going to pick up quite a bit of speed because we need to get that harm to go a much longer distance than it normally would be simulated at. Right now, of course, like I said, if you go over to Command and check the AGM-88 stats, you'll see it has like a 60-mile range. There's no way we're going to get anything close to that in DCS, so we're going to have to use slightly different strategy to actually do the deed. So anyway, let's go ahead and flip over to our autopilot page, put our radar altitude on, and set there. Switch to air-to-ground mode. A little bumpy we're flying over somehow, since my nothing new. Activate the harm missile. We're only interested in the fire control radar. We do not want to be engaging the regular systems, I should say. We want to engage the fire control radar, not the search radar, because again, search radar, we can just get the cluster bombs any day of the week. The fire control radar in the hand is very, very difficult to replace. You can see that we already have identified where they're located. Everything else is basically exactly the same, coming in at about 1,000 feet. Now, the lucky for us is, actually, well, I think we got it real quickly. Lucky for us, the actual harm missile does a pretty good amount of damage, so we don't have to worry about it not getting a mission kill because it whiffs it or something like that. The other thing we have going for us is the fact that the SA-2 missile is designed to attack basically non-maneuvering targets. So as long as we can beam the fire control radar, we can probably do a pretty good job. So anyway, let's go ahead and start accelerating. Flip this to scan mode to see if we can detect anything. It's a little different, like I said, than what we did before. But trust me, we're going to have to do things a little differently if we're going to be able to succeed. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick sample of what everything that's above me. There we go. Get ourselves some really nice altitude. You can see immediately we start picking up the radar, which is what we were hoping for. Like I said, almost immediately. Got to get ourselves a nice altitude here. Come on. Pretty confident I can engage the missile. That's the warning I was waiting for. That's him. A little bit more altitude. See, in the old days, the fire control radars wouldn't actually come on until they're pretty confident where you are. Give myself a little bit more altitude, a little bit more altitude. Almost 20,000 feet now. Come on. Launch. Launch. I'm in your range. Come on. Magnum. That's what I was waiting for. Now we have to go ahead and get the heck out of the way. The missile itself. Yeah, I'm not too much from shut up labels. Go ahead and pull myself this way. There's the missile. Give myself up a little bit of speed here. And then we're going to have to engage the SA-3. Alright. This is a little different than what we did before. See it? See it? See it? Yeah, it's going to whip us pretty bad. It's right there. See it? Yep, you're not even going to come in the same time of week. I'm going to brake anyway, just in case. And there it goes. I'm sure there's more than one, though. There always are. The first one. Let's see if we can find the second one. There's the second one. Brake. Perfect. Nicely done. Nicely done. Let's see if we can go get the SA-3 now. That's him. And we're being launched on again. This time I'm going to go ahead and brake low. Good. So a good amount of speed here. Try to track it. Try to track it. Find it, find it, find it. Where's the telephone pole? Find the telephone pole. Find the telephone pole. Oop, I think it drove into the ground. I'm going to dump just a little bit more. Ah, that ridge line was awesome. All right, let's go take a look to see if we actually destroyed the fire control radars. Oh, we got one of them. The question is, did we get the other one, though? Of course, in the real world, we have no idea if we succeeded. So now we got to go find that SA-3, although, honestly, we could probably go get the search radar. So that was pretty cool. All right, where's the SA-3? Now, the SA-3 is going to be a little bit tougher to probably engage here. Well, you know what? Might as well be thorough, right? Alright, I'm done. Let's head back to base. Interesting, I'm not getting a fire control warning on the SA-3. Maybe we actually got it. Go ahead and look towards the target area real quick. Of course, if this were a real seed mission, we'd probably have cluster bombs again. These, so I got a fire. The SA-3, honestly, is a much, much bigger threat than the SA-2. But you have to get a lot closer. Alright, I'm heading over. Alright, let's get out of here. Yeah, I think I might have gotten both of them. So, suffice to say, the simulation command was actually fairly accurate. But there was definitely some fancy piloting that I had to do in DCS in order to get the same kind of result. Let's go off the ground mode, do that, let's turn her off. Oh no, the SA-3 still lives. Shucks. Well, that kind of thing happens, but hopefully we get the search radars anyway, so we don't feel too bad about it. Oh, we got one of them, so not too bad, I'm not complaining. Of course, without a search radar, it's much more difficult to use a fire control radar as a search radar, because essentially you're exposing yourself with it at the same token as you're going to make it much more difficult to find things, because it's like looking through a straw in the sky, essentially. So anyway, let's go ahead and fly back home. Set our final waypoint. Again, our mission ends when we arrive at the destination. Right there. Oh, did you see that? I got the other search radar too. So interestingly, the command results were identical to the DCS results, except that we had to do all those other kind of little things in order to kind of make it more possible. We had to fly a little bit higher, we had to use a ballistic trajectory for the HARM missile in order to hit it. I think the SA-3, there was no way I was going to hit that, because he kept turning himself on and off because we were just too far away at the time. As far as fuel consumption goes, you can see I used a lot more fuel this time getting out of the way of those SA-2s as they came ripping in. Man, those are scary missiles when you see those things coming at you. Not as scary as the SA-3, but we also need to slow down a little bit. We're going a little quick. Flip on my automatic pilot. Now we'll get down to battle. Again, if you remember in command, we got engaged again when we're on our way down. So obviously we want to stay kind of low here. Alright, that SA-3 is still back there, but I got the important one, so I'm not going to do too much. Just a little bit lower here. About 450. There. Alright, fun trick by the way of the heading hole. If you click and drag this little thing that pops up that says H cell, you can dial in the heading you want. So like for me, I want 205. And just press enter. And then if you go to the autopilot and press H cell, it'll actually pull itself over to the heading that you just selected, which is awesome. The awesome thing. So anyway, we got to come back to base and explain that we got both their search radars, one fire control radar, the SA-3. I'd be very curious to see just how short that missile actually landed. Unfortunately, I don't have TACP or anything like that, so we can't go check that later on. As usual, we'll go ahead and stop our mission right when we get to the airfield, because again, command does a much simpler take on landing. You know, you can get 36,000 feet suddenly you're on the ground at 0 knots, which, as you know, doesn't happen. But obviously, if you're doing this from a carrier, things would probably be a little different as well. Just kind of see how it plays out. That was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually a lot of fun. It's gonna be funkiness as far as the view or anything like that. Our missile, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Obviously, if that were an S-300 or something like that, it would be a slightly more interesting of an engagement. But we'll probably have to save that for another day, because I think that a command's gonna have a very tough time getting that accurately. Let's see here. What else we want to check? Here. We could drop off our fuel tank, but I always like to return base when we can. So, yeah, we did okay. We did okay. Like I said, we definitely burnt more fuel than we did in Command, but on the flip side, Command had a missile that could travel 60. Our missiles barely traveled 20, even with that incredible loft that we did a moment later. So, kind of take it as it comes kind of a thing. In future missions, I definitely like to explore air-to-air, but for now, I like to kind of stick to air-to-ground as well, because I think air-to-ground is not that it's easier to simulate. There's less variables. You know, I'm not the best pilot in the world. I do fly small single engine propeller dealies in the real world. This is a totally different beastie, but I'm not going to pretend like I can do things that real professional fighter pilots can, or accurately be simulated for that sense. Alright, once we get over the top, go ahead and check what time it is, and then we should be good as far as this mission goes. I got my speed under control. Get ready to pause. Nice airplane. Right there. Okay. So we ended at 7:39. So we're actually a little bit quicker than we were in the other simulation. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 missiles launched at me. What did we actually hit? We got their radar, and we hit 2 of the search radars, 2 separate search radars, which actually makes me feel a lot better. Total fuel, we burnt quite a bit more than we did in Command, but again, we had the limitation of the missile. All right, hopefully you can draw your own conclusions, but I thought that was a pretty cool scenario, and we'll have to take a look at some other in the future.